Alright, so this is just going to be a quick browse guide for higher levels. I'm going to say maybe 120 plus. So the reason why I'm making this is because I see a lot of YouTube videos with browse guides that are really like, they're not really complete, or they tell you to do it one way, and usually that way is wrong. So in terms of gear, I should have full Void on, Void Elite, I believe Fire Cape, D Boots, Ring of Vigor, Chaotic Maul, and Fury. Your armor shouldn't matter too much. This is pretty much a melee guide if I haven't said that already. But I like the Void because of its prayer bonus. I don't need the defense bonus just because I can soul split my health back up and it's already fairly high, not maxed. But if you have a lower defense, you can either bring Barrows armor, which is pretty cheap. I'm assuming you're going to have at least a 10-20 mil cash stack. Or Bandos armor, which also works incredibly well. And if you really have it, Torva, but you're probably not even watching this because you should know how to play the goddamn game. But, maging is overrated in my opinion. If you're lower level, like 110, 100 and below, you're going to want to use mage because you're not going to be able to hit for shit with melee. But, if you have 90 plus in attack and strength, feel free to melee. Even if it's a whip and a defender, it should do more than enough damage. Yeah, so for my spec web, I have claws. You can use a DDS. Ferocity works extremely well too. Spec web, whatever. I'm not going to be using range to fight Ahrims, just because it wastes inventory spaces and I hate ranging. It's like my range level is like 87, which is pretty shitty for 134 combat. What else can I talk about? Chaotic works well. Maul is my favorite, but you could use a Rapier, Rapist, or a CLS. Either will work fine. In terms of inventory, super set, extreme set. Do not waste your overloads. I mean, like I don't have overloads, but I can just imagine it'd be a waste. You really don't need it. You don't even really need supersets. Couple prayer pots. I bring it up for about 4 runs just because, I'm ADHD and I get really bored. I can't farm Barrows. I do it every once in a while when I get bored. And then the rest is just fish. Do not forget Spade. Do not forget tabs. Fish is extremely cheap at the moment. Sharks are about 400. I'd say monks are 300. And I know that lobs are about 85. And lobs will work fine. You'll just in the video, I use about 5 pieces of food. And I barely soul split, so you're not going to be needing to heal up that often. So yeah, such a quick pairs to Berserker, Turmoil, and Pro Melee. If you don't have that, Piety, Ultimate Strength, Chivalry, I don't give a shit. Protect Melee, you won't have Berserker, but that's okay. Alright, anything else that I miss? I don't think so. Thinking. Alright, well, I'll explain. I'm assuming you already know. I mean, watch a different guide if you want like extreme details on how to get there, but I will pull up a map and try and explain it. Okay, so you're gonna use a car portal, speed it up. Alright, so a couple of things I'm gonna mention before I actually get into the boss area is the order you're gonna want to fight them in. A lot of guides will say Dark is always first, and you always should take him out first just because he's the most dangerous. If you get him in the tunnel, I'll try and explain that in greater detail later. But you finish off Darks. Then I moved directly to Karl. A lot of guys will say to go to Ahrim or Vurak, and those are both, I'd say, incorrect. See, I'm gonna assume after Dark that you're still gonna have a lot of prayer points left, and since Vurak can hit through your prayer points, then it's pretty pointless to even use prayer unless you're using Turmoil or Piety, but I'll get some more on that later. It's just kind of a waste of prayer points. And the main reason you're going to want to take out Ahrim last is because he lowers your combat stats. If you're maging, it wouldn't really make a difference, but since you aren't maging in this guide, he's going to want to save him for last, because you're going to pot up when you hit Docks, and you're only going to need to pot once throughout the whole trip. Not the whole trip, but the whole cycle for the first trip, for the first cycle of the trip. So it's kind of a waste to get your stats on, and you're gonna have to pot up again because it just gets annoying. So I moved directly to Karl. Oh yeah, I going back to Jagex, you're gonna want to use the first spec on Jagex just because you might as well, because your spec bar refills. So you might as well just pop off that first spec at Jagex, and then you can pretty much choose a spec anywhere else after that. I'm just saying, when you never want your spec bar to be at 100% because you're just wasting spec. So I usually spec out, not spec out, but I spec Jagex, and then I either spec Carol or Varrock. Varrock might be a better choice simply because he can hit through your prayer, and he's going to be doing the most damage out of all the brothers, unless you fuck up. I'm not really sure where I'm at in the video right now, but I'll talk about Varrock. So Varrock, you can choose to, flash soul split. Like, I usually decide to do that. I might not do it this cycle, but I will in the next cycle. Carl should go down like nothing, but you're gonna want to pre-mate a range because he can hit through your armor, even if you're using full Barrows or even Torva, I believe. I'm not sure about the defense bonuses on that. Guthans and Torog are both jokes. You should be able to. Might not even need protection prayers, but I usually have enough prayer points to quickly take them out. Sometimes you can 2-hit them if you're using a Maul, 3-4 hit with a CLS or Rapier. I don't fucking give a shit. Fuck that. Raper. I'll call it a Raper. To be honest, I don't have a Raper, but I would use it if I had it. Because sometimes I even prefer using a Whip and Defender over my Maul, just because sometimes I feel like it works a little better, especially if you want to get KC up. Alright, so you should know by now. You should know that you always save the tunnel for last. So I might be in the tunnel by now. If not, I'm just gonna pause the audio and then I'll set it up when I get there.
It's like no matter what I do, I can't convince you for once just to hear me out. So let go, watching you turn your back like you always do. Face away and pretend that I'm not, but I'll be here cause you're all that I got.
So when you're in the tunnel, you're gonna get down there and there's only gonna be one door, so go through that door. If the door leads to one of the side passages, I'm not going to show a map to the underground place. You should probably know at least a little bit about Barrows before you're watching this guide. You're going to look off to the side and look for the door that leads into the center room. And if that door is blacked off, then you can know that you can continue circling the chambers and you don't have to go back that way. But if the door, I'm trying to explain this as best as possible. If the one door that you have open leads to a main monster room, what I mean by that is spiders, leeches, skeletons, or rats, then you should get as close to the door as you can and kind of look around in the chamber room to see where you're going. Like, you could just keep going around, but it's kind of nice to know where you are. But the important part is if you get stuck on the outside, which should happen to me in the first cycle, then make sure you gotta look into that room and see if the door is blacked out, and if it's not, then you know that you're supposed to go back the way you came and go through that way, or you're supposed to keep going around because you don't want to waste time. And I assume you're gonna also take more than one run in each trip, so try to remember where you got out because that's where you're gonna have to get out from. So once you find the door, open it. It might be a long way, whatever. You can at this point build up KC. The best spot in my opinion is the room with all the leeches. You kind of just let them attack you, click on them, whatever. They do drop some charms, which some people find useful. And I'm going to talk about the whole conspiracy. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's true, but if you want to make profit out of Barrows, you should kill at least maybe like 5 or 10. Like, I'm not going to in the video just for the sake of time, but I find it useful because you want, even if you don't end up getting any Barrows items, you're still gonna make profit, and you might as well get as much profit as possible while you're there. So I say just kill a couple, no big deal. Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna kill any in the video. So once you get to the chest, open it. Yay, congratulations. If you have a Ring of Wealth, put it on, or if you already had it on, then you can just open the chest. And then proceed back out of the chamber the way you came. And I'm still not, it's not just rinse and repeat. I still have to explain one more thing. So once you do get out, you're gonna wanna, either heal up, put up, sip a couple prayer pots, get your prayer up to maybe like 50, and before you repot, you like with your super set or extreme set, kill Ahiram, the mage. Kill the mage because of what I was explaining before about how he lowers your combat stats, and you are meleeing, you're not maging anymore. So kill him first. You really don't need the boost. If you brought a ranged weapon, use it, whatever. But take him out first. You can use your spec. It's up to you, but I wouldn't recommend it. So you can take him out, and then that's when you rinse and repeat. You know, prep, get your prep points back up, and proceed to take out Jagex. And okay, yeah, it's rinse and repeat at this point. Same thing, same stuff. At the end of this video, I do get a drop, thankfully. I mean, that's kind of nice to have in the video. I don't know if I'm going to make any more videos after this. I have no idea how much views this is going to get, but if it does, I might consider it. Might consider upgrading. I don't know. I don't put enough time into video making anymore. But yeah, it's actually my first commentary. I'm just gonna talk because I believe I'm going through the second cycle right now. I'll just let you listen to music, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to get trolled for like dubstep. This is awkward. I feel like you guys are gonna think I'm trying to be funny, but I'm really just talking to my laptop right now. You'd be like, oh man, this guy's just trying to be funny. This isn't as awkward actually as I thought it would be. I'm self-conscious, so I'm doing this like in my room with all the doors out. It might be a little echoey too. This might be a little an echoey commentary. Oh yeah, and you know, if you don't get a lot of items for a while, don't get discouraged. Like, you're gonna have your dry streaks. Like, I've had 50, 60 run dry streaks, but you just gotta keep doing it. And I recommend not, you know, farming Barrows. Like, just do it. Like, when I play RS for fun, you know, like, I do a bunch of stuff all the time. Like, I always think, like, oh, I want this. Like, if I want to get another chaotic. No, I do, like, 1 or 2 dungeons at a time. I go do some Slayer. I do a Barrows run. Maybe a game of Castle Wars. Like, you never want to end up doing the things, like, one thing over, because then you just, it gets boring. And, like, it's, you play a game to have fun, you know. You're not going to just fucking do the same thing over and over again. And it's good to set goals, too. But it's just, like, don't kill yourself trying to get that party hat or whatever. Like, I've personally never broken 300 mil, but I don't really care, because when I dumped all of my money in Turmoil, I found the game a lot more fun again, because I had to scrape up that money, and you know, I had to start getting my items back. And I just found that a lot more entertaining than just playing the game with all these equips that I had. And it's just like, I mean, like, I wasn't rich, but it was just like, oh, this isn't as fun as it could be. You know, I don't know. It's, you make the game as fun as you make it. I mean, as corny as that sounds. But yeah, like, there are a bunch of things I think people do wrong in their guides, and I like a lot of that stuff is like I hate when it's like, yeah, you have to use this, you have to have these stats. No, make it what you want. Like, you want to do Barrows of the Rune Simi, go and fucking do it. I mean, like, record it. That's funny. Put it on YouTube. No, I feel like people are just like, you know, you're gonna bring a black salamander, you're gonna use a DS, you're gonna use Karasi. It's just like, I don't have Karasi. I don't want to use a black salamander. I want to use Slayer Dart. And just do what works for you and do what is entertaining. Like, I using my Maul and Void, because sometimes you can hit like 700s on, and it's just fun to watch your guy kick the shit out of you. Like, Barrows is honestly probably the easiest quote unquote bosses. Besides, the Maul can fuck you up, man. That thing. The Maul has like shit rewards. I should say the easiest boss, solo boss, well, you have to solo it with the best rewards. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Probably won't make any more in the future depending on what happens, but we'll see about that. Good luck.